Hi everyone, my name is Logan Boswell. This is my final project for MSAI 495 Computer Vision at Northwestern University. For my project, I created an application called the Interactive Sketchpad. And just a little overview of the project before I kind of hop into more of the details. I created a virtual sketchpad using Python for users to draw with their hands. In terms of tools that I used, OpenCV was used for the video and image processing, and then the MediaPipe hands model was used for landmark estimation. This is just kind of an overview of the pipeline used in the actual application. So, first thing is hand detection. So, um, frames from like your webcam on your computer. Uh, you take a frame, it gets fed right into MediaPipe's hand model, so it's able to recognize the landmarks on your hand. If a hand is detected, the landmark positions are updated. If not, you just uh, keep the same landmark positions and wait for a hand to be detected. Next is kind of gesture and action recognition. So based on the updated landmark positions, where you're able to recognize certain gestures or certain actions performed by the user, such as drawing, changing a color, etc. Um, and as far as and then kind of drawing, so these actions are kind of mapped to like an actual on-screen like change to the image. So whether that's drawing and having the different pixels change color, or remove the color from the pixels, or change the way the interface looks. Um, it's just kind of the whole pipeline. So um, just to kind of hop into some of the software architecture for this project. Kind of the main tr class used for tracking is called handtracker.py. So it's basically a wrapper for the MediaPipe hands model. Um, this in the way that the application is kind of structured. Um, I have it where the first hand that is detected on screen is recognized as the drawing hand. So if you have your right hand on the screen detected or on the screen first, it's going to detect that as your drawing hand. You can add your other hand as well, but it will not recognize your left hand as the drawing hand. It will just recognize the first hand on screen. With that being said, if this was your first hand and it's detected as a drawing hand, you add your second hand, and then you move the first hand, then it will switch to your second hand, and that will be your drawing hand. So there's capabilities to draw with both hands. That's kind of a future application, but for this project, I wanted to focus on just drawing with one hand. Um, and with MediaPipe's hand model, there are 21 hand landmarks as outlined in the image over here. Um, so, at the base of the hand, like at the wrist, and then different landmarks for each finger. Um, this class includes methods for detecting hands, getting the landmark positions in their like kind of row column form of the image on which like specific pixel corresponds to the landmarks, and then checking which fingers are extended, which is used for some gesture recognition and action recognition. Um, and just kind of a little extra info on detecting extended fingers. So um, for your main four fingers, excluding your thumb, um, it's detecting extension on that was pretty easy, because you basically just look at the landmark at the tip of your finger, and compare it to the other landmarks. So right here, here, and here, and check if the distance away from the where it actually connects to your hand is if the just from the tip is away from, compared to um, these other landmarks is greater, then that counts as the finger being extended. And it's also in my like implementation, I use Euclidean distance. So if you have your finger like tilted or upside down, even it's kind of orientation invariant. It's still able to detect if it's extended, even if it's not pointed like straight up in the air. For the thumb, it's a little more tricky, just because your thumb is not able to move like your other fingers are. And so for the thumb extension check, it's kind of a combination of checking joint angles of your thumb to see like how if it's like kind of straight out um, from your hand, and then also if the thumb is far enough because some issue that I was having before making this change was if I was drawing with my hand like this, let's say, and I would move my hand across the screen and my hand would tilt like it is right now, um, it would kind of detect that my thumb was extended when in reality it's not. But just because of the way my hand is oriented, it would check. But adding the distance check as well, you're able to kind of have two layers to actually make sure that a thumb is extended. Um, so yeah, that's just a little more in depth. I thought I'd go into that just because the thumb extension's a little different than other fingers. And then another class is the region class. So this is for representing different rectangular regions of the sketchpad. So um, I have a picture over here of just some of the color like buttons, the colors you can select to use in the actual application. So um, it's the region class can kind of be used to create different like areas. So in my implementation, I have like the colors are all their own specific region. There's other buttons like erasing the canvas, clearing the whole canvas, exiting the application. There's also a slider. There's also the actual canvas where you're drawing. They're all just region. They're all just like are derived from the region class. So the region has kind of core methods that include actually drawing the region for like in these cases if you have like a color that you want as the background, it could be transparent. You can see, I think it's slightly transparent. You can see the background a little bit right here. It could be opaque, um, but has a method for drawing the specific like rectangular region, um, and then it also has a method for checking if a certain like row column position is within that region. So uh, mainly that's kind of used for like when you're selecting a different color. If you move your finger up and the fingertip is detected within one of these colors, it will change the actual color of the cursor. Um, so yeah, it's this is kind of the main building block of like setting up the interface and how you're actually kind of detecting what actions the user is doing based on whether the user is changing the color or adjusting the slider. It all just kind of boils down to detecting if a certain point is within a certain region and then actually just drawing it on the actual canvas. And then Sketchpad is kind of the main controller. It's the main like file that you would run in order to run this application. So it acts as the central controller for the real-time drawing and like maintaining the canvas as well. So you basically would run this file. Its main method would go, it handles tracking the hands, it handles updating and checking the regions or so. Um, so it's kind of it also makes it modular as well. So if like I wanted to go back and add like another color to this, and I wanted to have like I don't know, let's say orange or something, I could easily adjust the size of these buttons and add one there. And it's just kind of adding another region like class, region object. Um, and it would be very easy to implement that or implement other features if you wanted. Like any like button is very easy to just kind of create the region, create what color you want, and then just add the functionality you need. But yeah, overall, it just kind of integrates the all of like the hand tracker and region classes together, and then also uses those classes to recognize different user actions and gestures. So this is kind of the main like controller. And then as far as features go, right now there's seven selectable colors, and then you're able to actually draw with multiple fingers. So you're able to multiple fingers, excluding the thumb, I will say, because the thumb is used for a different function. But if you like are drawing, you could do two fingers, you could do four, you could do one. Has to be on the same hand. That could be implemented later if you wanted to draw with two hands, you could do that as well. Um, there's an eraser. It kind of speaks for itself, just erases what you've drawn. And then there's a clear screen as well. So press that. Yeah, it makes the entire like annotations that you've made disappear. There's the size selection cursor or cursor size selection slider. Which is I think it's very nice. You know, you can if you want to draw more like fine annotation or more a thicker annotation, you're able to kind of seamlessly just go out, move your finger, adjust the slider, and then that's your cursor size. And then the exit button as well. So if you were like really like sitting back here or so, and you really wanted to draw where you could move throughout the whole canvas without like being up here and slightly moving your hand and moving the full width of the canvas. You could be back here and drawing, and then you decide you want to exit and just move your finger up and hit the button and exit the application instead of having to hit like a button on your computer or Control C or Q or whatever you have it set to. And so this, as far as interaction and drawing logic goes, um, detecting a color change kind of it's kind of the same for like any button, I guess in this case. Um, I have it where it only detects you use your index finger to select or to press a button or to select a color or adjust the slider or whatever you need. And so it basically goes and it checks if this fingertip is within a certain region, one of the region classes. And if so, it's just like a toggle feature. It's like if the previous position was not in the region class or was not in the region, but now this one is, you're setting that to your color or you're pressing that. Um, and so if as for colors, I have this cyan like block, all right, like border around which color is currently selected, so you know. Uh, but that's kind of the main interaction for pressing buttons and selecting colors. It's just moving your fingertip within a region, and then it checks to see if it's just like a toggle button. Um, in terms of drawing, you toggle the cursor on and off using your thumb, as shown as one of the GIFs over here. Uh, so it's kind of like two layers in terms of if you want to draw. So you're able to toggle the cursor on and off, but then your finger must be extended for the cursor to actually draw something. So if you were like this and it was off and the cursor was off, you would not be able to draw anything. But and then you would turn it on with your thumb like this, like in the GIF, and then you would be able to draw. You can kind of see in the GIF actually at the fingertip, it turns white once it's turned on, and so it actually is able to draw. With that being said, you could go and you could turn the cursor on like this, and then move your finger down. This is not going to draw because your finger is not extended. Um, if you moved your finger back up, it would draw because it would detect that your finger's extended. That's so, and then sometimes it would detect if your finger once it reaches kind of the halfway point where it's your tip landmark is uh, further just away from your hand than like the other landmarks, it will start drawing. So it's just two layers to kind of make sure that the user really is like wanting to draw using a specific finger. And so here is a little demo of the project. So this is like a terminal window that you would start whenever you're running. I open it, toggle the cursor on. White is like the default color. You can see in the bottom right, there's text to kind of give you feedback on if the cursor's on or off. Now I'm going to switch it. I'm going to use my left hand, change it to the red color, turn the cursor on, do a little drawing again. And then I'm going to switch the color again. And this time I'm kind of demonstrating that you can draw with multiple fingers. So I drew with four, I switched back to one, I switched to two. Cursor is on during this whole time. It's only detecting if the fingers are extended. But drawing with three, switching back to four, toggle the cursor back off. Uh, and now here is just demonstrating the slider. So whenever your finger is in the region where the slider actually is, it's like the rectangular region kind of between the clear and the exit buttons. It takes where your actual the pixel like position of your finger and updates the size of the cursor accordingly between a cursor size. I believe 5 and 50, 5 or 40. I think one of those two. Um, Switching to the eraser, you're able to erase the annotations you've made. The cursor size for the eraser is the same as whatever it's selected in the slider. You just saw the clear button to clear off all of the annotations. And then this is just kind of demonstrating like just a little like drawing. So we do a little smiley face right here, and then I switch over to the purple color and draw a nice Northwestern N. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of how it works. And then after I get through drawing, you'll see me hit the exit button and exit the application. So uh, works pretty well, but definitely could there's improvements that could be made too. So up here, exit application, didn't even have to hit my computer. And here, some potential improvements could be more robust thumb detection for toggling. I think I mentioned that before in this presentation. Just even though I kind of added the two-layer check for like joint angle and then also distance, sometimes there can be cases where the cursor is accidentally toggled on when you don't actually want to be. Uh, and so that just a little, I think if I spend a little more time or to kind of make that a little more robust. It would make it a lot easier to, and we wouldn't have those accidents where like you're moving your hand across the screen and the cursor either turns on or off, whatever it is, and when you don't want it to. Um, Drawing with both hands, I think I might have mentioned that as well. MediaPipe supports like two-hand detection at the same time, and then in addition to that, it's also able to give an estimate over if a hand is a left hand or a right hand or whatever. And so that could be very easy to implement, just saving like landmarks for one hand and one or saving each like set of landmarks. And so would not be that bad to implement, and then you could still have the same like multiple finger drawing at the same time. And then even with drawing with both hands, you could like use one to select one cursor color, have another cursor color selected for a different hand, have an eraser selected for one hand. A di kind of plethora of different options or plethora of different options. So there's a few things you could do with detecting both hands, and it wouldn't be that bad to implement. Drawing on different images and videos. This gif over here of a commentator annotating on an NFL game kind of is my kind of inspiration or my kind of mind or idea behind this. Um, is you can have an image fed in or a video stream fed in, and then you can have like yourself over with the sketchpad overlaid on the image. Like right now, like let's say I had a video coming in, it would show up behind me. I could turn on the color, select cursor size, whatever I wanted, select or draw what I wanted to. Like this, they're showing the running back moving a certain way. They're pointing out the lineman doing a certain action. And so you could do that to a certain video or something or camera or whatever video, image, whatever you wanted coming in. You could draw that, and then you could potentially save it. That's another kind of improvement. You could just literally add a button to just hit that, saves it, and then it would just save the annotations. You could just add the annotations to the initial video camera, and where you're not in the picture, the UI is not in the picture. It's just the annotations that you've made. Um, so, and then also shape recognition. If any of you have used like an iPad note-taking app, I use an iPad for notes. Um, I feel like a lot of them, maybe all of them, I'm not completely sure, have shape recognition as a feature in there. So you're able to, if you want to draw like a circle, you draw a circle real quick, and you keep your pen at like the point where you started, and then it makes like an actual perfect circle, and it's not your like whatever your actual drawing. Same thing with like rectangles and triangles, whatever you have, you're able to just move kind of quickly through that, and then it will recognize what you want to draw. I feel like that definitely could be implemented here. While there is like I guess kind of a challenge because with drawing on like an iPad or anything where you're pressing down, you have like the feedback of kind of pressing down and it makes you a little more stable. This is a little less stable because you're just like in free space. But that's definitely a feature that could be added, and it would kind of take this to the next level. But yeah, overall, that's the project. I really enjoyed working on it. I enjoyed this class as a whole. I feel like I learned a lot, and I was glad I was able to kind of apply the concepts that I learned throughout this class in this project. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.